Schlock namana, do 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 do. Schlock namana, do 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 do. Schlock namana, do 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 do. What's up, everybody? That was really silly. That was dumb.
That might be your best. No, that might be the best Schlock opening ever. I mean, it's our so it's hard for me to say.
Yeah, it's comparatively. So
you get all
we are doing
points.
a movie called Phenomena. Get it? Schlock nomina. Anyway, what's up, everybody? I'm Darby Ellis Lewis Wilson. This is Chris Anonymous, and we are a schlocky show for schlocky people like us. We're talking about Dario Argento's Phenomena. It came out in 1985, featuring a pre-labyrinthian Jennifer Connelly. I believe that came out in 86. The next year, there's only like one movie in between that. The movie cost about $3.8 million to make. And interesting. So, Chris, we watch all this stuff on Tubi. Did you watch the long version? I think there's maybe only one version on Tubi right now.
I only found I searched it and then it popped up and I clicked it.
And there's only one?
I didn't look further.
So this movie is 116 minutes long. What does that come out to? 2 hours and some change?
Just 4 minutes under 2 hours.
Yeah. And so apparently there are multiple versions of this movie where they've cut it down to clear to like 86 minutes. So like less than what we generally think of as a full length movie,
a streamline, if you will.
An hour and a half, which I'm not sure that's particularly a bad thing. So
an 86-minute version of this.
Yeah. So that was, I think, a US release. Also in the US, this movie was not called Phenomena, but it was called Creepers. It had Creepers as its title at a few places, I think, because of the bugs. I don't know which title I like better. Phenomena, I think it to me, if you've watched any of Dario Argento's stuff, it kind of goes in with that kind of Italian naming convention. There's Suspiria, Tenebra. Anyway, I don't know. I feel like it fits in with those.
I like Phenomena better than Creepers.
But yes. That seems like it would be a different movie.
Yeah. Phenomena, right? Then A Tale of Creepers. Combine, just slam it all in there.
Well, I think a tagline for this movie was something like "When insects attack," which is
not really what happens.
Like a third of this movie, maybe.
Yeah, but it's misleading because it's a superpower that she uses to defend herself. It's not like
right. It's a very odd movie in the way they use stuff.
Weird.
So we'll get into that a little bit later. I want to address the elephant in the room. We haven't really done the show the way we normally do.
I've been
nearly a month.
Yeah, I've been jonesing for it. Yeah, it's been a while.
We've had a couple of episodes from the vault. We will have another episode from the vault next week. Dead Heat, I believe.
Sure, that 2 weeks.
2 weeks? I thought we were taking what's the holiday coming up? Memorial Day.
Yeah, you're right. You're
taking that off. Yeah,
you're right.
So we got Dead Heat coming up. That's a fan favorite. I don't know if I can say that. It's a host favorite, I think.
Love me some Dead Heat.
But so the reason I picked this movie was because in my mid-20s, I went through a bit of a Dario Argento phase. I still don't know if I'm saying the guy's name right. I assume it's right. But yeah, since I love horror movies, some college hipster snobs said, oh, well, if you like horror movies, you got to watch Dario Argento because he's the horror master. And so I watched Suspiria. I watched, it's back when you're still getting DVDs from Netflix. So I was getting one every few days. And I watched a bunch. I don't really remember all of them because, to be completely honest, I didn't particularly care for them.
Not your cup of tea, huh?
Yeah, and then Phenomena was the last one that I was going to watch, and I was like, this is it. Like I'm done with Dario, and it was consequently the one that I liked the most, which I'll get into reasons why later. But yeah, so this came out of a phase of short, maybe 2-month phase of my life. So I saw it up on Tubi, and I thought, heck, why not? So this movie, it's got some pretty interesting stuff behind it. Apparently, they had some very huge chimp problems in the movie, which is kind of unfortunate because that was one of my favorite parts. Was Inga, I believe, is the chimp's name. So in the last shot of the movie, where Jennifer Connelly's character, which I think her name is Jennifer.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. She and the chimp are having this moment. And I believe the director, he wanted the chimp to face the camera more, because you can see here, or her, I'm sorry, the chimp is a her. She'll probably get mad at me for that. He wanted her back to the camera, or her front to the camera as opposed to her back, and instructed Jennifer Connelly to try and turn the chimp, and the chimp did not like that, went literally apeshit and bit one of her fingers off, and they had to go and sew it back on. And I guess at a different point in time during the production, they were filming in the woods, and the chimp like ran off. It just ran away for a few hours. And who knows what kind of mischief a chimp can get into in the woods. So I don't know. That's probably my most interesting tidbit about this movie. There was talk about a sequel in 2001, but he chose to not do that in favor of a different movie. And I would be really interested in what a sequel or even a remake of this movie would look like.
Oh, I have the best idea. It'd be a TV show, but yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, did you see, so they did a Suspiria remake.
I love the original. I have not seen the remake.
The remake, it's not as moody, and the lighting, Dario Argento, big thing for him is lighting, and I think he really set the bar on that for his more modern horror films. But so the lighting isn't as good. I think it's a more solid story in the end. It's still confusing, but it's a lot easier to follow. So anyway, if you haven't noticed already, since we literally like showed a picture of the very last scene of the movie, we are filled with spoilers, and we spoil everything. So viewer beware. The way we do this show is we talk about the good, the bad, and the schlock. We kind of rapid fire through good and bad, and then we talk about schlock. What is schlock? We don't know. We'll know it when we see it.
It's fun to say.
Schlock. It is fun to say. I love it.
Schlock,
I love it.
Schlock, schlock.
But first, before we get into that, we have the web of schlock.
Right. Well, you've already mentioned Jennifer and Dario. Were two of the main things. I mean, he's, whether you like him or not, he is one of the godfathers of horror, for sure. Mm-hmm. She's got a really interesting career when you look at like her films. You know, Labyrinth, Requiem for a Dream. There's just so many different, really cool choices. Really cool actress. But and you mentioned The Monkey, which is I love The Chimp. So all that's really left is another bit of horror royalty, but in a different way. Donald Pleasance, man.
Yeah, he looks very familiar to me. What else is he in?
Dr. Loomis.
That's right. Yeah, man, you are a Halloween fiend. Like I'm just like, I think I know. I think I've seen this person before. I think this is like the second or third time you've got me on that.
Loomis is my man. Loomis is my man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, how many Halloweens was he in?
Two?
No,
1 and 2?
He was in like 5, part 5 and part 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have not watched that far in yet. I think
I mean,
some sort of Halloween marathon.
They're not the highest quality, but he's just awesome in all of them. So I'm a giant Donald Pleasance fan. That's really about it, man. I mean, it's just Argento, Pleasance, Connolly, and a chimpanzee. Like, that is a perfect recipe for schlock. You don't need anything else.
So something I'll bring up that I thought was interesting was so Dario Argento, his wife is Frau Bruckner is the killer in this movie.
Nice.
And one of his daughters is I think she's Swiss girl, or they're in. I don't know where that. She's the girl in the beginning.
They're in the Switzerland, Transylvania, as they so often say.
That's right. She's the girl at the beginning who gets killed. Another interesting tidbit is, so Dario Argento, his daughter, his more famous daughter, is Asia Argento.
Awesome.
Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah. I'm
so for those who don't know, she is kind of the person who started the Me Too movement because she spoke up and brought allegations against Harvey Weinstein. However, about 2 years later, allegations were brought to her. I don't know what came of it, but she apparently had sex with a minor on one of her movie shoots, where she was like playing this kid's mom and, used her power to sort of pressure him into sex, and then gave him some hush money. So moral of the story is figure it out on your own. So anyway,
the title of that movie, Creepers.
Exactly. Bringing it home. So anyway, good, the bad, and the schlock. I love that. Chris, let's fire through good and bad. What did you like and what didn't you like about Phenomena?
Man, I really loved it, but I like his movies. I forgot this in Web of Schlock, but the music, Goblin, man. I love Goblin. They do some really cool synth scores.
Yeah, they're kind of royalty as well.
They are, yeah.
Horror royalty.
And the synth in this was awesome. The atmosphere, the direction, the cast. There's so many cool things in this movie. Some of the bad things are some of the things that I really like too. Some of the music, some of the metal music just seems really odd. Some of it I really liked, but there's just some. It just
didn't fit.
Yeah, he's an auteur, right? And he's got his own idiosyncrasies.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that's a good thing. And it can also be a bad thing. I like that he makes weird, unique choices. And sometimes he makes weird, unique choices that go in just this direction where you're like, huh, okay. Some of the acting,
the way I put it. So I'm going to jump in real quick. The way that I put it was that it's like if Michael Bay had zero budget and he was directing a Stephen King novel. That's like what Dario Argento movies are to me.
Wow. Okay.
Like every shot is supposed to be the best shot.
And some of them are, man. Some of them are
really great.
Just the concept alone is just so bizarre. We've seen this. We saw this when we did Dead and Buried, and we've seen it a couple other times. The Happy New Year or whatever. What was the New Year one?
Bloody New Year.
Bloody New Year. Where a lot of horror movies, especially on a slightly artsier side, are very fever dreamy, right? Like they've got their own internal logic that you can't apply like cause and effect to completely. It's just it's a lot more symbology, a lot of surreal images. And
we did Pumpkinhead, Dead and Buried. They all kind of followed that internal logic.
Yeah,
fever
and
dream
so
logic.
So you have to be in the mood for it, and you have to watch it with that in mind. But it forgives a lot of the weird things, because that's how dreams work. You're just like, this is bizarre. So that's the good and the bad. I mean, what about you?
Well, so like you're saying, I have a lot of the same things. Definitely the auteur vision. Like, you can tell more or less that this is the movie that he wanted to make. And in fact, I think he said that this is one of his favorite films. Yeah. And I have a shot that I call Down the Rabbit Hole, where Jennifer Connelly she's like following the world's longest phone cord that she dropped down this hole because she's trying to get to the phone. And just the way it looks, you can see, right, she's supposed to be in a tunnel, but it's widened up so that you can actually like get like this interesting shot. It's at this angle where it's a straight on shot, but it's kind of a Dutch angle. I don't know. He just has very interesting looks like this, and it's throughout the entire movie. Well,
and it's also interesting because the cord she's following is a phone cord, right? Like it's just metaphorically there, and like, for, like I said, surreal images. It's just really interesting, all the layers that you can put on different things.
Right. And so just another shot, and this is probably maybe one of the gorier shots of the movie, the body pit. This is like why I remembered the movie, why it stuck with me, because I thought this part was so gross when she falls into the body pit, say the Deadpool. So this movie, right, it's really slow, but once it gets to its gore portions, the gore is all out, and it's very akin to another Italian director that I really like, whose name I also don't know how to pronounce, but Lucio Fulci. He created like a lot of the Italian zombie movies that had just gnarly makeup in them and looked so good. And I just love that hyper realistic zombie skeleton makeup. So that really stuck out in the movie to me. I thought it was cool then. I think it's cool now. The overall premise, I think, is interesting, and we can talk about that later. See, the Goblin, the synth soundtrack, and the opera, very, very moody. But into the bad, I agree, Iron Maiden and Motorhead. While I love both of those bands, it just did not fit for the atmosphere. And I think that was more of a studio decision. That's where we see his vision kind of go away a little bit.
When she was running through the night to Iron Maiden, though, with those statues, that was such a cool shot. That was just so bizarre.
But the thing is that Goblin, they also did fast-paced synth music in this. And that, to me, just felt more correct
appropriate
for the film.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest bad things of this, and again, we watched the long version, it is slow. Like, the shots are just too overindulgent. Every shot, every scene just seems to take just the most amount of time they possibly can, when they could have really trimmed it down some. Yeah, that's just some overindulgence. And
which,
the last,
go ahead.
Well, the last bad thing that I have, and this will kind of get us into Schlock, is the key plot points of this movie. I had a kind of a hard time putting this movie together. Like, I had to put it together once it was done. But so this is a shot from when they're like visiting the insane asylum. And this shot right here is a very key shot because it explains what's going on, and we get it for the scene itself is just a couple minutes long, and this shot is seconds. And what it is that the killer, the woman, Frau Bruckner, she was at this asylum, whether she was an inmate there or she was a nurse. I don't know. I don't know why she was there. I don't know if they really explain it, but she gets raped by this insane person who's apparently on the lowest level of the asylum. Therefore, he's the most akin to the devil. And she has this deformed son who kills the girl in the beginning. He breaks from his chains because she's a very loving parent, has him chained up. He breaks from his chains and kills this girl. Then they have to move. And then in order to protect him, the mom starts killing people that could potentially out him. However, it doesn't explain why she killed some of the girls that she killed, unless they stumbled upon the secret as well. I don't know. They don't really explain that, but
maybe she got
there's a lot of stuff they didn't explain.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. Well, again, or she was in the insane asylum because she herself is insane, right? They said the killer is a psychopath and wants the bodies to be near them.
Right. And that's why they have the deadpool, if you will.
Yeah. I guess maybe she bathed in it. I don't know. Why was that pool there? We'll never know. Yeah. That's part of the mystery.
Let's get into schlock.
Do it.
Let me start you off with let's get the image up of baby food with a toothbrush. Okay, this is the kind of movie you're in for. Has some beautiful establishing shots of this beautiful area, this cool school. And then she comes to the school and she's hungry because she hasn't had any food. And her roommate has some baby food that she explains away in a really long exposition-y thing. But she doesn't have a spoon. And there's no other food that she's allowed to get at this time of night, which again also makes no sense. And so she's like, oh, I have an idea. And she grabs a toothbrush and uses it to spoon out mixed vegetable baby food because she's a vegetarian.
Yep.
So
I believe that was cut in the shortened version.
Man, it sets the tone perfectly. You're like, okay, this is the kind of movie where she comes to this weird, creepy boarding school and she has to eat baby food with a toothbrush. and this sets you up for that whole fever dream. Like it's just bizarre. The choices
I had this dream last night where I was like eating baby food with a toothbrush, and then this killer was chasing me.
And this weird woman comes in and she's mad, and I offer her some, and then she like takes my poster. Why I have a poster of my dad, who's a famous actor. I don't know.
That they never show. They never show the poster.
And then they have this weird conversation, and then it's just bizarre. And then she's sleepwalking. This movie suffers, and it's also whatever the opposite of suffering is, from just so many ideas that you just throw them on the wall, and whatever sticks.
Right. This movie could be 86 minutes long. Yeah. If you just distill it down to what it is.
She controls bugs. She has a firefly lead her to a clue that's going to help them find the murderer. I love this shot. I love fireflies. They're cool. And it's just a cool shot to have that glowing thing in her hand. This is where her powers are starting to like come to fruition, and she's starting to learn things, and she follows it into the woods. And this is one of my favorite moments. It's very, again, what I was drawn to were the more really ethereal dream sequences. Yeah. And this was a highlight for me.
I really enjoyed the shot right before this where the firefly is flying around, and it's some sort of weird stop motion hybrid. It has a very cool look to it. But speaking of like just throwing all of these ideas in there, I think there is a much cooler movie inside of this movie that I like to call Inga's Revenge. Okay. Remember the troublemaking chimpanzee who is probably the best character in the whole movie?
Hands down.
She is the ornithologist. Is that what it's called? A bug doctor.
Yeah.
She's his nurse. She sees her master get killed. She randomly finds this shaving blade in the garbage, and she is going to go get the killer. And she saves the day.
She does.
What a great, terrifying movie. A monkey with a
what they call that is a Deus Machina.
Ooh. I like it. That's the name of the movie.
Yeah, Deus Machina.
I love it. Yes. So
we have way too many puns in this episode.
I love it. I love a real punny episode. But Yeah. The there's a lot of stories going on in this. Tell me what you think, why you think this should be a TV show.
Man, okay. So she's got a taste for hunting down killers. She controls bugs that helps her track killers. Mm-hmm. What a great cop procedural murder mystery, like a little mm-hmm. darker, like a Dexter or so she's like a detective who works on a homicide unit, and she uses her power of bugs to like catch all these cool killers.
So it's like Hannibal, the Hannibal series,
right?
But with bugs.
But then possibly season 1, season 2, she's like, these people aren't getting brought to justice, right? And so maybe she takes her power of bugs and goes a little too far and brings some justice to some people who deserved to die for their heinous crimes, but that got away on technicalities, right? So then she has this moral dilemma of like doing the right thing, but also upholding the law, and like, when do you cross those lines? And it's just a cool episode with a cool actress, and she gets to control bugs. And each episode you could have different bugs, and you could have beetles that eat the flesh off the skeleton to help hide it, and and then everything starts weighing down on her as she proceeds, and she just keeps digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you could do with that premise, and a lot of interesting directions you could go. It's definitely an interesting premise for sure.
I like the girl that controls bugs. That's really interesting.
Yeah, what more do you need?
Right. So evidently a monkey, a weird killer who's deformed.
Let's talk about that real quick. So there's this scene after she's in the body pit. She finds the killer's son, and don't show it yet. We got a picture of it. Don't show it yet. So when she first gets into the house, the mom is like, I have the mirrors covered up. Don't wander around because my son is deformed and very ugly. Don't go looking around. And then she finds the kid. He's facing into a corner, and he's like, go away. And she's like, no, I want to help you. And then, if we got the picture queued up, then he turns around and it's like, bah! And she screams and runs away. Now clearly this kid is a killer. Look at that. This kid is like this deranged monster killer.
It's young Sloth, man. It's young Sloth from the Goonies. Rocky Road. But
when she sees him, she doesn't know that he's the killer or that he's a killer, right? She just like sees this unfortunately deformed child and screams like he's this monster and runs away. Like he didn't attack her at first.
No, I think it's if you look at that picture closely, they've got maggots on him, and I think that cued her into knowing that he was into the ripping of flesh and
maybe he's eating them. Maybe he's the reason they're keeping.
Yeah, and I think that's why they have that pit. I think he likes to feed on them. I mean, again, this is a fever dream from some dude in the 70s in Italy. So Oh, go ahead.
And another thing I want to bring up, just so we get through our lists.
Should we take a few more minutes since we haven't done a show for a while and there's so much more to talk about?
Sure. Yeah. Hit me, man.
Let's add 5 minutes on.
Add 5 minutes on the clock. Okay. The weapon.
Oh,
what the hell was this weapon? So cool shots of it getting put together, and it's like this metal spear it looks like a wrench or something, like a ratchet wrench or whatever. And it puts this blade on it. It's this spear. I have no idea what it is. Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. The only thing I think
does this exist in reality?
It looks official, right? It looks like something that's in some kind of weird sport, like almost like the spear equivalent of fencing. And I'm just pulling this out. I have no idea, but it seems like it's a thing that I don't know about. Could have been made up for this, but it looks cool. It's all thin and silvery and stabby.
And then there's a cool shot later. I didn't get it because it was too quick of a shot, but like you see the silhouette of the killer and you see the spear like in the middle of the
cool shot. That's a cool shot.
It goes by like a split second. It's very cool. I again put it in the series, man. But that shot that we just had up, that is very Dario Argento. Like, so of the movies of his that I've seen, they have some sort of knife, a pair of sharp scissors like we saw at the beginning of this movie. And he does like these extreme close-ups on this silver steel.
Yeah, and it's just like a black silhouette behind it. Like it's not even like an insert that tries to stay in the scene, right? Yeah. It's framed against black, so that's all you see. Again, very dreamlike.
Well, and he does it to conceal the identity of the killer, because you want to see like the gore, right? You want to see the weapon, right? Killing the person or whatever, but you can't give away who the killer is. You can't like show the form of their body or anything like that. So he just does these extreme close-ups. And this is kind of the only place I've really seen that emphasized like that.
I've seen some, this is one of the places I've seen it a lot. Yeah. Other cool things that are just super schlocky, the ladybug vision. Now,
they had a lot of that.
Yeah,
weird vision types.
Weird vision types. But this was my favorite. This is where I set up, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is schlock. This is amazing. When you have a POV shot like this, I mean, so part of me is like, he just did it because it's cool and or strange.
Yeah, I think so.
If you take it at like the face value of what it is, it's a POV shot, which means that the bugs are a character. And now these bugs, they feel like a collective, the way they all reacted in the same way whenever she was around them with Donald Pleasance at his house, and the way they swarm, it all makes me feel like they're of one entity, like it's a collective hive mind, right?
Right.
And so they want her to come to power, like the whole, this is awesome. And I think I read that this is just like coffee grounds that are pouring through water, and then they just like superimposed it on there, which it just looks so cool.
Yeah.
And it looks like bugs.
Great effects. But that's the hive mind, right?
Right.
She is psychically connected to them. They attack the school.
Right. And well, that's an interesting point there when they attack the school, because they read her diary, and in her diary entry that she's writing to her dad, that she thinks she's gaining this alter ego power and that she controls the bugs. Right. And then everyone's making fun of her and calling her like queen and your majesty and stuff like that. And then she like assumes this very regal, like almost condescending, I love you all.
Yeah. I love you all. I love you all. And her hair is blowing back.
Yeah. And they're like, what is going on? But then the bugs are all like swarming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really
another movie inside of this movie.
Right. So how much do they want her to help control them so they can like hunt this killer down? Do the bugs also like, what's their stake in this film? What's their want?
I mean, honestly, you think that the sarcophagi flies or whatever, they would want the killer to keep killing so that they can, lay their eggs and reproduce, right? So shouldn't they be on the side of the killers?
Right.
I don't know.
I also, we didn't get a shot. It's super gory and schlocky and just hilarious, is when her lawyer, who is a surrogate for her father in the film, somehow shows up at the right spot at the right time and comes running down and like, hey, and then the evil mother cuts his head off with a piece of like sheet metal.
Yeah, something
like from like some junkyard nearby, and then she tries to kill. I
think maybe it was from the boat explosion.
Okay,
maybe I'm not clear.
And then of course Inga saves the day by cutting her a new one and going all
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
So that is about all the time that we have for today. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're watching. Let us know what you want to see. Chris, we have Dead Heat coming up next week. What's the last word, buddy?
Check this movie out if you haven't seen it yet. If you like schlock, This is pure schlock.
Awesome. Well, I am Darby Ellis Lewis Wilson. This is Chris Anonymous. We have been compelled by Schlock, and we will see you in the future.
Schlockity schlock. Schlock, 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 schlock. Schlocky, schlock, schlock. Schlock. Schlock, schlocky, schlock, schlock. Schlock. I am compelled by schlock. Compelled by schlock. Impelled by schlock. Wait, no.